Welcome to episode 10 of the Action Takers podcast. I'm your co-host, Nate. We got JC here as always. How's it going today?
Dude, it's
about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
Not gonna lie. I was gonna lie to the fans. I was gonna lie to the listeners. And I'm like, we're kind of batch recording some stuff. I'm going on vacation next week, and I'm fucking super pumped up about it. Normally, I would record shit on vacation, but I'm gonna be traveling like on a fucking boat, so I just can't. There's no fucking internet in the middle of the ocean, so I'm pretty excited about it. But I'm excited. The one thing I'm excited about is that like we're producing enough content and we have enough shit to say that we're comfortable enough to just talk for fucking 2 hours, which is pretty remarkable. Like 10 episodes ago, I'd been like, I don't know if we have that much stuff to say. But now it's like, holy shit. I'm doing amazing. We just recorded another podcast. If you haven't listened to that, if you haven't subscribed, like, commented, all that stuff, go back and listen to that one. That one is just pure. If you're a left-wing Democrat, you will absolutely. This is just fucking gasoline on fucking fire. Like it is a meth head in a fucking snowstorm. It is just absolutely incredible. So, Nate, dude, I'm doing amazing. How are you though?
I'm doing great. Hey, you know what? You're gonna be on a boat, so you shouldn't even be thinking about the podcast. So it's all right that you're not recording while on vacation. I'm sure the fans, the listeners of this podcast will forgive you. I forgive you. But I'm doing great. It's awesome. We're getting here 10 episodes on our way to 100 episodes. On our way, I don't know, 1,000 episodes. I don't know where we're going. We're taking this all the way. So. It's great. It's fun. I'm glad we are providing some good entertainment, hopefully some good knowledge to the people out there listening. So, it's just another great week, another great time of recording podcasts. And let's just get into it.
Dude, I've been thinking about this. It's episode 10. I figured we'd throw it out to the listeners. Listen, if you guys need some motivation, a little extra fire, under your ass to fucking take some action. Okay. Nate and I's fee it's $7,000 each. Okay. Well, it's $7,000 an hour. All right. We're very motivational. It's going to change your life. Okay. Spend $7,000. I'm just kidding. And one of these days, fucking people are going to pay us to do shit like that, which is, I'm pretty excited about. Nate, we talked about it before the show. We're going to talk about some business stuff. It's something a couple episodes ago I went kind of crazy, had a few drunk ideas that I thought we could make a bunch of money on. This week, you brought up a good topic. You brought up something in the previous show where it was essentially like talking about taxes. This year I had to fucking pay taxes, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm just saying that like this is the first year where I had businesses make more money and fucking the government's like, hey, you got to do better next year, and fucking I got to pay. So that's the way it goes. It's the game that we got to play. I'm excited to talk about it. So did you owe money this year? I mean, you don't have to answer that, but fuck, I did.
Well, I'm just going to preface this. Me and JC, we are not tax experts, CPAs, anything like that. So any of this stuff we say, just consult your CPA, your tax professional. All right. I just want to throw that disclaimer out there.
Or email us and pay us $7,000 and we'll advise you.
Well, I live in the great state of California, so California wants their money. So I did have to pay the state, but with some extra taxes, because you make a little bit more money. They're like, hey, we want some more of that money. So they definitely want to collect their money. The biggest thing, obviously tax, the deadline just passed here. I think it's past Monday. So, but with that being said, if you haven't started a business, just for the mere fact of being able to have some write-offs, you got to get on that and just, even if it's your name, incorporate yourself or whatever. There's a lot of benefits to it. Finding a way to get paid as a third party vendor. I hear this from Bradley all the time. Especially if depending on what you do, if you can get get paid that way, because then all of a sudden now you can write off your vehicle, you can write off your computer, your new iPad that you buy, your phone, obviously using your phone for work. So I mean, there's so many benefits to it if you're not doing it already, to start a business and have these write-offs that the government lets you take.
Well, it's so everyone understand that like taxes are essentially the IRS has wrote a giant tax book, and it's essentially all these rules and regulations, but the tax code isn't written to penalize you. Okay, it's written to incentivize you. Okay, the government incentivizes people with lower taxes. So I'll give you an example. So like if you invest in real estate, which real estate, the reason they want to incentivize you there is because people need a fucking place to live. And if you haven't checked out your local government housing, it's not the fucking nicest neighborhood. Okay. It usually has a sketchy name, and it usually about, 12 drug dealers, freaking selling crack cocaine out the front door. The government's trying to incentivize people to do certain things. Another way that they incentivize people with the tax laws is with creating businesses. When you create a business, you also create the opportunities to hire fucking employees. And that's what they're trying to do. So a lot of times, like the way I got into business was I was working my W-2 job. I was getting paid, Monday through Friday or whatever it was. I was getting my check. But the thing that I learned once I educated myself a little bit further was if you start a business, and whatever that business is, it can be fucking literally anything. I'll give you my example. Mine was golf. Okay. I loved golf. I love playing golf. I love talking about golf. There's a business out there. Okay. So we host golf tournaments. Okay. Well, what do I need to essentially perform that duty? Well, I probably need some podcast equipment. I probably need some video equipment. I need some golf balls, golf shoes, a golf bag, fucking some golf clubs. This is all shit I was going to buy no matter what. I'm just now incentivized because I created an entity. I created a business, which is not fucking hard. It might take you an hour to do these things. And it doesn't cost you a lot of money. And it essentially provides a tax benefit when it comes to tax season. You now have a business that maybe you do make some money. Maybe you don't make some money. I think everyone should have one because the government's incentivizing you to do that. Am I off my rocker here?
No, exactly. And that, especially, what you're saying. So having employees, it's which are an investment. If you're growing your business big enough, your employees are an investment, so not an expense. But the government does incentivize you by doing that, and that's the biggest thing. You kind of were talking about that, and I should have said a little bit more. But it's written to incentivize people for doing that, like you said, with the real estate, with the business, because you're providing jobs, you're provides a lot, obviously if your business is something that charges sales tax, right? You're generating additional revenue for the government by, selling items and they collect sales tax. So, I mean, there's a lot of things where, and that's a way to put it, you're incentivized for what doing these things. But you're hitting the head right on point.
Well, dude, it's one of those things that like you look at your life, and if you're someone that's listening to this very specific show to essentially get motivated to take some fucking action. I'm not saying you have to quit your job or fucking go all in or become Gary Vee or Elon Musk. I'm saying the simplest fact is like save yourself some money. It could be gas money. It could be money on your cell phone bill. It could be like there's incentives out there. But the thing that people don't do and the education system has failed us in, they have no problem teaching us the fucking periodic table, fucking calculus, and Spanish fucking 12. But they don't teach us about the tax laws. And I think if you just simply educated yourself a little bit about those tax laws, I think it would absolutely open your mind. A good book that I read recently, it's crazy when you have to pay money, you're all of a sudden incentivized to fucking start learning about tax codes. It's like a Rich Dad Poor Dad version. I think it's tax-free wealth. It's essentially creating wealth without having to pay any taxes, and it gives you kind of step by step on how to go about that. I mean, some of the most successful people in the world, some of the most wealthiest people in the world, don't pay any fucking tax, and it's like, well, that's not fair. Well, it's not fair that you're not doing the things that they're doing. Like the guy, like Jeff Bezos, he's going to pay a shitload of taxes, but he's not going to pay any capital gains tax because he's producing a fucking company that employs hundreds of thousands of people. Like the direct relationship that Amazon has, he's produced something out of fucking nothing. And what the direct resolution is that people have a fucking career, they have a job, they have fucking products that show up in less than 24 hours to their fucking front door. It's incredible. So take advantage of those certain things. If you're thinking about it, listen to us. Again, we give our tax advice for a fee, but get motivated to start a business. If you're a fucking stay-at-home mom or a fucking dad that likes to fish, that's a business. It can absolutely be a business. Now, Nate, let me ask you this though, because a lot of times people will get into like this business idea and they'll start writing off shit and they start making it a job. How does someone pick something that they don't mind doing for free? How do they go about that? Or is it for free? Like, how do you kind of figure out like what business you're going to go into? What is kind of your framework or your thought process around that?
I mean, here, one thing is, what do you enjoy doing? But obviously a business that is really more common these days. And let's even start here. Let's just say, JC, you want to get a new truck, right?
Okay.
You know what kind of business, man, I want to buy a new truck. Okay. What kind of business can I do on the side, maybe on the weekends, that I can use a truck? Junk removal. You buy a truck. Hey, I can haul people's junk away for them. Charge a little fee for that. Boom. You make some money on the side. On top of that, sometimes people get rid of stuff that's pretty good. You can probably take some of that stuff and flip it and have an additional business removing their junk. They're going to pay you to do it. And then on top of that, you can sell some of that junk. Maybe you're getting rid of a couch. Maybe they're getting rid of a TV that still works. I mean, there's so much stuff that people just will get rid of that's perfectly good that you can flip. And then right there, I mean, you start writing off, that new truck. You get some paid to remove people's junk. I mean, that's one little idea of something you can do. It's just what do you enjoy doing? I mean, you can landscape, the same thing. You buy a new lawnmower that you can use on your business, but you can also use at your house. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, that can have multiple. You can use for your business. You can all use, personally.
Well, so like one of the things that I think about is I try and so when I'm trying to discover the certain things that either need to invest in or start or do, to create another business, is I look at my checkbook or I look at my bank statement. I say, okay, who am I paying? Who the fuck am I paying that I can replace that with a business that I can either buy, invest in, start? Is it lawn care? Is it fucking the power company? Is it junk removal? If it's fucking trash can washing? Or one of my biggest bills is fucking vacations. Well, fuck, I like going to the lake. Well, fuck, you buy a house on the lake, you rent it out the weeks that you're not there, and then you go up there and you utilize those things. I think it's incredibly powerful, especially for the W-2 employee people, is pick, like you just said, like if you want a new truck, find a business that will pay for that new truck. It's as simple as that. Like if you like going to the lake, find a business that will pay you to go to the fucking lake. Join a fucking canoeing club or join a canoeing club that you film it and you put it on YouTube and it's a fucking business. That's the way it goes.
Or if you just like right there, you buy a couple canoes, you like canoeing, but hey, you can also rent those canoes out at your lake house or wherever, at whatever lake you decide to do that at. I mean, it's so limitless. I mean, there's so many different things you can do that you can utilize, like I said, stuff for yourself and have it as a business. So it's pretty awesome, pretty remarkable. And not a lot of people do it for whatever reason. I mean, it's not complicated. It's just a matter of taking action.
Well, and everyone gets fucking weird about I need to pay taxes. And I agree people need to pay taxes, but understand your earned income, they're taxing. Okay, the government's just taking their cut. Okay, whatever that percentage is. Yeah. And then when you go and take some of that money that they let you have, You go and you buy stuff with it, and you pay sales tax. You pay property tax. You pay tax on your gas. You pay taxes all around you. Why the hell not look at the tax code and say, hey, how do I save some money? Because ultimately, if you're able to pay less taxes, that money's going to go to something else. It's going to go somewhere. That it might go to your fucking retirement. It might go to something fun that you can do. Maybe it's that new truck. Maybe it's that college education, or maybe it's, you know, maybe you need to get a little surgery done. I don't know. Maybe you need to fix the the belly. Maybe you're not into doing sit-ups or working out and you want to get a tummy tuck. I don't know, but I think people just fucking, if they could just open their eyes up and take advantage of this shit, like, it makes people, it's so easy. It's doing a little bit of work.
Yeah, and all that is doing is keeping that money circulating in the economy, right? I mean, hey, I'm going to take this extra money I have and I'm going to buy some goods from this business. Even if it's a surgery, if it's a medical procedure, all you're doing is just keeping that money circulating in the economy. So it's going somewhere. So and that's just how making it right. I mean, spending money at your business, and now boom, you generate income. Now you can spend that money on someone else's business. I mean, it's just the great world of capitalism.
Well, what are some of the tools that you use to, like, make sure that you're not defrauding the government? Because my biggest fear, and I tell my CPA, my tax lady this, I go, listen, I don't want to go to federal prison. Okay. I don't want to be Al Capone. All right. I don't want to be the fucking guy who goes to prison and is playing fucking handball. Okay. Cause he didn't pay his fucking taxes. Is there something that you like, what do you use or what do you do to kind of, like, help keep you out of prison? It's a weird way to say that.
Having a tax person, right, and doing your taxes every year. I mean, that's the making sure. I mean, we're not talking about tax evasion. We're talking about that's the biggest, right? The word, it's like, this is pay your taxes, pay your fair share. But there are certain things that you can do to lessen your tax obligation. How about that? Bring it down a little bit. So. But I mean, I think everyone should have some sort of tax professional, CPA, and the biggest thing, they're not all that expensive. To have a professional, that's what they do for a living, right? Hey, here's all my stuff. This is what I did. This is what have them. That's what they do every day. They know how to make sure everything's correct. And I mean, the turbo taxes, the self stuff is good, but I mean, why not spend the extra couple $100 and have it done correct? And like you said, they know more of those benefits of the stuff that can help you save on your taxes. So why not take it to that instead of you guessing or whatever that tells you? Have someone, that's what they do every year and throughout the year. So and like I said, it's usually just a few $100 to have someone go through it.
I think you just made a huge point that I don't think a lot of people think about. Most people think about their tax person is like someone that they'd only talk to once a year. I call my tax person literally every couple months. Before I do anything big, any big purchase, any new start of a business, I'm saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. How do I set it up? How do I go about it properly so that we can, when it does come to tax season, like, I'm not getting hit with some fucking crazy bill or some crazy left field, or they might just simply suggest, like, you're going into an area where it is, incredibly difficult, to write off those certain incentives. For example, our storage facility and some of our rentals, like, you can depreciate those things, you can depreciate those assets over fucking 29 years and 39 years. So it's one of those things that have a conversation with that professional multiple times a year and keep them in the loop about making decisions. I think that's a tool that people just don't use.
Yeah. And I don't know if I brought it up before, but there's a lot of good, I hate to call them influencers, but a lot of CPAs out there that give out a lot of good knowledge on different things, on Instagram, I'm sure there's even some on TikTok, but like I said, on Instagram, there's some out there that give them a follow, whether it's CPAs, and there's even good lawyers out there that put out, business lawyers that put out good stuff too. Cause there's a lot of stuff out there that you could do unknowingly, and it could get you in trouble. So it's good to always just follow some of these people that are producing good content about taxes and business law stuff. So it's get in touch with a tax professional. Like you said, throughout the year, once a month, once every couple of months, if you are going down that realm of business, and even not. I mean, there's stuff even as a W-2 employee. I'm sure there's lots of things that you could be doing, to help a little bit with taxes. So whatever you're doing, just keep in touch with those and just gain more knowledge, take action and gain more knowledge, because there's so much stuff that's out there that can be beneficial to us.
Dude, I think the continued education is just so key because it's so easy now. It's not like you got to drive to the library and check out a book for a week. Like, you have it at your fingertips, and a lot of things, like you're talking about the W-2 employee, like there's so many things that you can do to lower your taxes, like just simply, dumping more money into your retirement, your pre-tax account, and all of a sudden, you have a lower taxable amount, and that might drop you into a different bracket. It might drop you down, 3 or 4%, where you do, instead of having to owe or make money or whatever, like you're going to be in a better position financially. Enough of taxes. I also hate fucking taxes. I hate the government. I hate writing them a check. I was rather angry. Every pothole I ever ran over in California, I cursed their name, Gavin Newsom specifically. I'm excited to be in Georgia because the taxes are a little nicer. But as we're on this venture of like businesses, so it's funny because you and I mean, we essentially started a business together because we started this podcast, and I started writing more. And it's one of those things that, like, I started realizing, like, the shit that you document, you could turn on and sell that stuff. So I think, dude, I've been working on a fucking real estate course. I'm kind of explaining like how I did it, and just giving it away for free. Like, I mean, if you want to pay me for it, I'll take your money. But it's been a cool experience. It's been challenging and weird, but like the one thing that I've learned most recently is the ability to like write things down as you're doing them, like, is so key, because those are some triggers that like you could fucking remember, like you can immediately recall back to those incidences and stuff. So dude, I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's one thing I know I've been trying to do more, and it is writing, journaling, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, just writing things down, whether it's business ideas, whether it's stuff you're learning, and then yeah, just to create stuff. I've kind of done a little bit of stuff, but I'm going to put something together too. My big thing is just customer service, right? Being able to have great customer service, whether it's, business to business or business to consumer, and some, I guess, tips and things you can do. And it's hard to sometimes replicate, because a lot of it comes down to being personality stuff. But yeah, I think we'll start doing some more course writing, PDF things we can send out to people if anyone wants them. And eventually we will have our own training course, and make a little money off doing that.
Look out, Grant Cardone, we're coming for you. So let me ask you a question about your customer service thing, because I had an incident this week. I had a customer in our service business called us up. Hey, I need a quote. I came out to their house, gave them a quote. We agreed upon the price and said, hey, in 2 days, we're going to complete the job at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And sure enough, the night before, I get this text message like, we're going to have to reschedule. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird. But she's like, well, can you still show up to give us the quote for an additional service? And I'm like, sure, I guess. That's kind of weird. But anyways, what I learned was the customer had hired someone else for $20 cheaper than us. And at the same time, so I asked her, I go, hey, do you want to reschedule the cleaning, the service that we're going to provide for you? And she's like, oh yeah, I'll text you about it. So I drove back by her house like 2 hours later and realized that she had hired someone else for a lot cheaper than us, or not a lot cheaper, $20 cheaper than us. So I called her up and I was like, no go. I can't work with you. did I handle this the wrong way? Like, how do you handle customers who fucking treat you like shit and lie to you? Is it something where you fire them, or do you just bite the bullet and you fucking take them on? You're like, I'll just fucking do it. Like, what is your thought process when it comes to customer service? Because I was like, listen, man, you lied to me, and it is what it is. I can't service a customer who's gonna fucking lie to me, because I don't know what else they're gonna lie about. That was kind of my thought process when it came down to it. Am I fucking off my rocker?
So you got a couple of things there. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be lying to you, and you get that with a lot of people too, right? Either you get ghosted, you get, it's just a typical thing, right? Especially when you're doing sales, a lot of people ghost you, or they don't get back to you, or they change their mind or reschedule, and it's all one thing. So with that though, I mean, yeah, if you don't want to do, people lying to you, that's not good. It just makes it difficult. But and I think it's fine. People are going to choose to go with other people sometimes. And, if someone's going to choose someone over $20, I don't know how much the service is, so I don't know what percentage less that was. But nonetheless, there's always going to be those people that are, going to go just cheaper. And my philosophy is that, hey, that's not your customer. That's fine. With that though, in the long term, I used to have a different philosophy. But now, I over time, it's like, hey, just because someone doesn't buy from you today, some business owners I met are very like, fuck them, I'm not going to ever work with them if they came back. I'm the opposite. If a year later they said, hey, actually, I do want your service. Okay, cool. Because it's like, well, why not? Why would you be? Some people are bitter. I've literally met people that would be like that. But to me, as long as there's like,
I was kind of like that. I was like, like, screw you. Like, no, it's $20. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, of course you're not my customer. Like, you lied to me. You freaking, you're running me down the, like, what are we doing here? But I see it now. Nate. You brought up a good point. Like, they might be my customer down the road, and I kind of burnt that bridge. So I think I handled it poorly. I think I could have handled it differently.
I get it though, because in the moment, especially that, right? So like, it's in your neighborhood or in your area. So I see that all the time. What I would do, driving around town, and all of a sudden someone's car got wrapped, and it's like, oh, they got the sign up, and they had asked me about this stuff, and you don't hear from them. And so, it happens. But one of the things, like I said, with that I learned, because it has happened, where someone got something else, but then they needed something else from us, and so they contacted us. And to me, it's not a big deal. It's they're still coming back eventually to get a product from you. And there's usually a reason why. If they didn't go with that other business again, it's because, well, they realized it wasn't all what it was made up to be. They maybe saved some money here, and it's not the quality. It's not they didn't get that customer service. And it's all right. We can forgive those people for making a mistake the first time, and then realizing they should have just gone with you, and we'll forgive those people. It's not a big deal.
Hey, I need you to produce that customer service course, because you just delivered a few nuggets that have saved me. It could have made me thousands of dollars. Hard thing. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, you can fuck off. Like, I got no time for you. And then you're just spitting some fire when it comes to like, idiot, you could have sold her Christmas lights, or you could have cookies at the fucking brownie delivery box with your kid or whatever. I think you're onto something there.
It's the lifetime value of a customer, right? Like it's a hard thing though for some people to really realize. And I've seen people burn bridges all the time because of that, right? They look at it so transactional, where it's really a relationship. And once you build that relationship, and these people keep coming back and back and back, I mean, what is really the lifetime value of a customer? It could be $100,000, even if it's $50,000 over, depending on what your business is. I mean, that's a good amount of money over 10, 20 years, that 30 years, whatever, however long you're in business. So it is in those moments, we all have those, where we just get frustrated with people, because we're all human and we all do silly things from time to time. But in the long run, you sometimes got to take a step back and just look at, hey, what's the lifetime value if we have this customer And it's hard. It's hard to sometimes, eat the cost of something. It's hard to remake something. Maybe you made a mistake, even if it was their fault. So you just sometimes, hey, it's all right. You know what? It was their fault, but you still take ownership of it, replace that, and they're going to keep coming back. And sometimes though it's hard for people, and like I said, I've seen it happen, and then the customers get mad and then they don't come back again. And even if you try and make amends, it doesn't work because people get upset. So, but as business owners and people that are in customer service, you do have to really sometimes just take a step back, slow it down, slow down whatever you're doing, and just really think about before you say something. But it's all good. There's plenty more people out there. So
yeah, Nate, you're absolutely right. It's I went off the deep end, which I often do, but it's it's a lesson I learned. It's one of those things that I just don't hear no very often. I don't usually hear people who just like just cancel you. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, you gave me your word and I gave you my word. I went out and bought all the shit for it and it's $20. Like she's like, oh yeah, I saved $20. And I'm like, you were just gonna let me reschedule for, and then what were you gonna do? Were you gonna go out there and, anyways, you're right. I'm wrong. I get it. It's the way
those deposits. That's another way. You can always get a deposit. That's get people to. That's how you can know how committed some people are. And that's a whole other thing, right? I mean, as far as it's getting into the technicalities of business running, sometimes people go on word, which is good. Majority of the people, if they give you a word, they are going to follow through with it. But there are those people that either, let's just say you do have to spend some money on something. You spend some money on the materials, wherever it is, and then they do cancel out you, ghost you. Now you're stuck with these materials. So it never hurts to get a little bit of a deposit. So you just see how serious they are, or just even bring it up if they're willing to pay it. And then you're like, oh, actually it's all right. But then I guess, how serious they are.
Well, dude, one of the things I keep thinking about is like, so this is one of the things that I used to think about when we were selling cars. When I sold cars, you would go through these stretches where you could only, like, it seemed like everyone that you interacted with had bad credit. And it wasn't that everyone you interacted with bad credit. It was just those were the people that were saying yes. And you weren't convincing the people with good credit to actually fucking enter the door and buy the car from you. So you had to take a step back from yourself and look at your avatar. You got to look at your customer base. You got to look at sometimes the way you go about selling that customer and cater to them. If, in my opinion, like if $20 is going to make it or break it for you, you're not my customer. You're just not. And that's okay. That's the way it goes. My customer they don't want the cheapest service. They want the best fucking service. I don't want to sell fucking Timex watches. I want to sell fucking Rolex watches. I want to go above and beyond and also get paid a premium, because the way I think about things is like, I'd rather do less work and get paid the same amount than do twice as much work and get paid the same amount and have twice as many customers. I oftentimes have that 80-20 mindset where, like 80% of your problems usually come from 20% of your customers. 80% of your revenue generally come from 20% of your customers. So I like to think about things like that, but I often go, I go off the deep end and fucking just fire people who might be worth some money later down the road. Or I could have sold that customer to someone else. I already got their contact information. I got all their fucking info. I know what fucking kind of house they have. Like, harness that data, repurpose it, and sell it to someone else. Let someone else service that customer, and then maybe I'll get a referral, kickback, or an affiliate, fee or transaction.
And that's always a decision too, right? Like, let's just say they wanted it for $20 cheaper. Like I said, once again, also it always depends on what you're selling, how much it was, and everything. Are you willing to take $20 less to get that job? Depending on what it is, right? Is it $250 and they want you sell for $2? And would you take $230 for it? It depends what it is and what you're willing to do too. Because sometimes it's $230 is better than zero, right? So or whatever it is, right? That money of the difference is $20 is still sometimes better than zero. Obviously, unless you're charging them 40 and they want 20, 50% discount. I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that some people, yeah, you can take the hard stance, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously you want to, if you're given a premium service, you want to make sure that you don't dilute your service as well, right? You're keeping it premium. So, or whatever it is, premium product. So, and so that just obviously reminded me, I don't know if you've been seeing the reels lately that don't call me for the best prices. That's been going on, that everyone's been using lately for their service. Yeah. So I mean, I've heard it like 30 times. It's like stuck in my head now. So, but yeah, so, it's, which is true though, too, cause it is one of those things that, some people, that their customer is, hey, their customers just, they want to do it the cheapest, right? They want to do a whole bunch of jobs. They want to do 10 jobs and get all those, inexpensive, jobs, which is fine. But, why not do half as many jobs and get paid the same amount, for producing quality work? Not that people necessarily might be doing it cheaply, but hey, if there's usually a reason why something's the cheapest, right? They're doing it in half the time, or are they taking the time doing the extra steps to do whatever it is, cutting lawn, installing windshields, tinting your windows, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, it's especially for certain things, like you'll go lately, I don't know, I've been driving around I've seen newer cars and their tint's already messed up. I'm like, so you obviously chose to go for a cheaper place on your tint. And now your tint's all bubbling on the back because you wanted to save yourself, I don't know, $50, $100. And like I said, these are newer cars that, they're like 5-6 years old and your tint's already messed up. I'm like, my gosh. But it's like that, right? I mean, there's people, they're just looking at the result in the moment and not thinking, man, my car tint is going to look bad in 5 years because I decided to save $50, $100. So, which is fine. Just let those people choose and do what they want to do.
Dude, it just, sometimes you, like, the old mindset of me, like, especially like W-2 employee mindset, JC, was like, oh, let's save as much money as possible on every single service. It did not matter if it was, going on vacation. Like, I used to take vacations and my wife would be like, we're going to be in the airport for 24 hours. Like, we're just going to spend the night in the airport? Like, that's, what are we doing? And it's like, well, I saved $20. And you're like, you're an idiot. You're going to spend $800 in that airport getting drunk, buying 3 meals of food than you ever would with just spending a little bit extra money and getting a fucking better deal on a flight or a vacation or whatever it was. I've made that mistake several times. So as I get older, like, my idea of spending money is like, buy quality that's going to last. Like, I'd rather buy something that's a little bit more expensive that has a higher quality that's going to last twice as long, because it seems like every time I go super cheap, I end up buying the cheap shit and then end up buying the expensive stuff anyways. And that's just kind of my framework on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the scarcity mindset. I mean, that's what it is that, hey, I got my limited amount of whatever it is, and I'm not getting more. But yeah, when you change to the abundance mindset, to that there's plenty out there, there's plenty to get. Yeah, you definitely look at things different. And with that, it comes back to you too. Spending more on things, and depending on what you do, obviously in business, it helps, because then you start getting more in return. It probably sounds silly, but yeah, I used to have the same mindset too, right? Not spending money on things and yeah, the cheapest and this and that. Don't get me wrong, I still like a good deal, but when you really open up to the abundance mindset and knowing that there's going to be more coming around, you definitely spend different, and you realize that even that, right? Like, how about that time? Yeah, you did save $100, but is your time really, that little? How valuable is your time? Just to save some money. So it's a big thing, because time is one thing that you start realizing that you do things. For a perfect example, and I don't know if I ever told a story, but I switched carriers to a different phone carrier, and I had a person come out to my work to sign me up for my phones. Usually you go get a new phone where you have to go to the store, you got to stand in that line for 2-3 hours, right? Get your phone, hopefully. Like, so what that, and it, the phones, I don't know, they're a little bit more, but having someone come out to your work and do all your phone stuff while you still can work is a whole different mindset. Like that's how much time did that save me? Yeah, maybe I had to spend, $5, $10, $50 more on the phones, whatever it is. I don't even know. But it's that, man, customer service on top of being able to still work, not have to take time out of my day to get my new cell phones. Like there's things we sometimes just got to look at, like, or getting your car detailed, the mobile auto dealer, they'll come and wash your car wherever you're at, whether at home, whether you're at work, instead of having to spend the 20, 30 minutes to go to the car wash, do all that. Like a lot of it too, just comes down to time. You spend that extra money, the $60 to get your car detailed versus spending $30 at the car wash. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but man, for one, it's better quality service. You get your car, it looks amazing. And then, like I said, you save yourself time. They're coming out to you. You can be doing other things instead of spending that time going to the car wash. So it's definitely a mindset that a lot of people aren't in. But once you get into that mindset, it can definitely be a game changer.
Dude, it's absolutely incredible. It's one of those things that if you guys enjoy the frameworks and the things that we're doing here on this particular podcast, YouTube show, or whatever it's called, here at the Action Takers podcast, do us a favor, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't like the video, if you don't like the content, tell us about it. Tell us what we can change. Tell us what we can do better. I would love to get some interaction with the folks that are watching and listening to us, because I think we are giving some value out there, specifically when it comes to fucking just taking a step forward and stop stalling, stop waiting. If the lessons that you learn here, shit, I'm still learning today. It's one of those things that, I'm firing customers and Nate's like, you're an idiot. Like, you got to not fire people. Okay. Like, fucking quit being the dick. Okay. You're not your old career. Okay. You don't have to be right 100% of the time. Like, take a step back and fucking take a deep breath before you get on the phone and start yelling at people. So with that being said, Nate, really appreciate it, buddy. It's as this episode comes out, I'm probably going to be half lit on a beach somewhere. But I'm excited to talk to you next week.
Oh yeah. We'll episode 11 coming in hot, and yeah, we appreciate it. Or even leave us a question in the comments. Hey, is there a question you have for us you want us to answer, get our opinion on? We're experts in our own opinions. So, we definitely give you our opinion on whatever the question is.
We definitely will.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And we look forward to next episode.
Dude, I think a fun episode would be just us answering questions, because I think a lot of questions that people will fucking throw out at us are going to be, they might be off the wall. Like, if anyone that watched our first, show, is the 2 cups, 1 girl, whatever real, I think we're going to get some unique ones. So I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be a cool episode. But all right, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good vacation.
Oh yeah.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.